Hello to everyone. We will discuss an important topic regarding counting the total number of observations in a SAS dataset. There are a number of methods to count the total number of observations. In a SAS dataset, we will discuss few methods. They are: first one is count function in proc SQL. Second one is using dictionary.tables. Third one is using NOBS option in set statement. Fourth one is using end option in set statement. Fifth one is using %sysfunc and itern in %let. Sixth one is proc frequency. Seventh one is proc means. Eighth one is proc summary. Ninth one is proc contents. 10th one is proc datasets. We will start one by one. Method 1 is counting the observations with proc SQL. This is the easiest method to use to count with proc SQL. It returns all observations, including both missing plus non-missing observations in a dataset. In case you want to store it in a macro variable, you can use into keyword. This will print the number of records in SAS log. Check the log after running the above program. This is not efficient method. Why? Because it does not use metadata information of SAS dataset. Instead, it reads through each observations of SAS dataset. It takes a long time to count the observations because of having huge number of records. However, it is a simple and handy one. Another point here is we can count observations using group by with proc SQL. Method 2 is the counting the observations with dictionary.tables. This is one of the most efficient way to count number of observations in a SAS dataset. Why it is most efficient one? Because number 1 is it uses metadata information, and number 2 it does not look into each values of a dataset to determine the count. Method 3 is the counting the observations using NOBS option in set statement. This is also another most efficient way to count number of observations in a SAS dataset because number 1 is it uses metadata information and number 2 is it does not search in dataset. NOBS creates a temporary variable total count, which holds total number of observations. Later we can call it into macro variable. Method 4 is the counting the observations using end option in set statement. End option creates a temporary variable. Using retain statement we can calculate the total number of observations in a SAS dataset. Retain statement creates total number of observations. Count in the last row we can put this count in a macro variable using call simput. Now we will see continuation of same fourth method to calculate observations by group wise with the data step. Here also same method to calculate the number of observations per variable within a SAS data step. First sort the SAS dataset using proc sort. Retain statement and first dot and using if statement. We can count the total number of observations. Please check the program and output. Method 5 is the counting the observations using %sys function. This is another method to access metadata by the macro language using data step functions. The attrition function is used with the NOBS argument to retrieve the number of observations from the metadata. Method 6 is the counting the observations using proc frequency. Proc frequency is used to count the total number of observations in a SAS dataset. We can see the total number of observations at the last row of cumulative frequency, and also missing observations at the end of output. Please check the output here next for counting the observations in group wise with table statement. As you can see, proc_frec does not only provide the total observations per group, but also the percentage, the cumulative frequency, and cumulative percentage. If you want to remove these statistics, you can use the no percent and no cumulative options. Please check the output showing females are 9 and males are 10. Methods 7 and 8 are the counting the observations using proc means and proc summary. With proc means, we will get only non-missing count, but with proc summary, both missing plus non-missing count will get in default. Check here, both with proc means and proc summary, we will get the same count of observations for the classification of sex variable. That is counting the observations in group wise of sex variable. Methods 9 and 10 are the counting the observations using proc contents and proc datasets. Here check the output for total number of observation. Next in this slide we will observe the counts generation by comparing both proc SQL and proc frequency. We will receive the same output so we can use either of the methods for calculating the total number of observations. We will explore more details on many interview cracking questions. For complete clinical SAS training details, please contact us and visit our website crystalclinicalsas.com and mail us to clinicalsas924@gmail.com. Enjoy your training tour at our institute and explore more knowledge. Thank you. Bye-bye.